Peace and blessings, family. What's up with all the daydreamers out there? Please live it. Don't sleep through this thing. Welcome back to another episode of The Pour Over, where we pour over into you some words of encouragement to not only get you through one of your days, but we're trying to get you through your life, shawty. So let's get to it. So on this holiday break, me and my family have been focusing on decluttering the spaces in our home. The laundry room, the hallway closet, the bedroom, and my dresser drawer, and all this other stuff. What we don't need and don't use, it's got to go out of this house. If it needs to go in the trash, trash. If it needs to be given away to somebody else, give it away to somebody else. Let's get rid of it and clear the space. But here's the trick. After clearing the space, you don't, or at least you try not to clutter it back up. More on that later on, but it's not only about clearing out the physical spaces inside your home, man, inside your house, but it's also about clearing out the emotional, the spiritual, the mental spaces inside of you. You'll be amazed that when you start on this decluttering process of your own personal life, you'll be amazed at the things that need to be thrown in the trash, or the things that need to be taken off your shoulder and given away to somebody else to deal with, because you cannot deal with the load anymore. But not only that, you'll be amazed, and pay attention, because most of equated to your home, a lot of the clutter that is inside our home is because we brought it in there. We agreed to it. We bought it. We agreed to taking it from somebody else because they didn't need it anymore. Most of the stuff that we have that is stashed and stored away, we either bought or somebody gave to us, but we agreed to the exchange of getting it and bringing it in here and keeping it in here. It's the same thing when it comes to your life, ladies and gentlemen. Most of the clutter, probably 90% of the clutter in your life, if not more, is because you have brought it into your life. At what point in time do you begin to say no to things so that you can declutter all the stuff that is actually holding you down, becoming a dead weight? But let me go ahead and go a little further, because I want to talk to you about three phases of what cluttering takes us through. Let me go ahead and say that. 3 phases on what cluttering takes us through. Now, I'm gonna do a little bit of reading and everything like that, man. So y'all bear with me, man. I just want to stay on track with this one, because I can go off rail. But real quick, man. Number 1, cluttered spaces leads to laziness. Cluttered spaces can lead to laziness. Well, what do I mean by that? You ever said this when it comes to the pile of clothing that is sitting on the side of your bed or inside the laundry room, or the cleaning up that needs to be done? You'll often say this: I'll do that later. I'll do that later. Now, some things you actually get to, but it's a lot of things that you say, I'll do that later, you really don't get to. Well, let's make this personal, right? You know, when you're mad at your job and you can't stand that job, but you know you need to do something to get away from that job, and somebody tells you, well, go out there and look for another job, fill out some job applications, and you say, I'll do that later. Or you have a business plan inside your head that would be really, really great and intriguing for other people to invest in, and you say, I'll do that later. Or going back to school for an associate's degree or a bachelor's degree and whatever you want to do, and you say, I'll do that later. Or forgiving somebody that has hurt you, or that or mending a relationship that you even hurt. You know, you'll say, I'll do that later. Studying more inside the Bible, I'll do that later. Praying more, devotionals more time with your family, I'll do that later. I'll do that later is becoming the death sentence to your life. Every time you say, I'll do that later, you're adding more years of pain onto your soul. I want you to think about that. I'm gonna keep it moving. We're gonna leave it at that. And then after a while, man, what happens is, once you get used to saying, I'll do that later, you become just comfortable inside all that clutter, and you'll no longer say, I'll do that later. You just accept it as the normal reality in your life, which it should not be. Now, the second phase of what clutter does inside our lives is this. After the laziness, this is what the next phase of clutter is. Clutter then leads to feeling negative. And what do I mean by that? It is you showing a lack of appreciation for your life, for everything that is surrounding your life, for friends, family, having a stable job, man, being able to pay your bills, man, having those that are looking out for you and everything like that. You begin to just show a serious lack of appreciation because you're so weighed down by all the unnecessary clutter in your life that's taking the majority of focus of your attention and place it upon all that, that everything else that is really good, everything else that is a blessing, everything else that would give you joy, everything else that would give you peace, everything else that would elevate you, you've neglected and you focus to complain on all the things that are negative. But here's the thing. Not only do you complain about all the things that are burdening you, holding you down, but the very things that could be a blessing for you, you now transfer your complaints over to those things too. You start complaining about the whole totality of your life simply because you're living your life in clutter. And not only that, you just start to complain about any and everything. If something is good, you find the negative in it. You are an expert at finding the negative in the joys in life, and then nobody want to be around you because we sick and tired of hearing you complain all the time, man. Get it together. Now, phase three. The last one is that you feel trapped. You begin to feel trapped. Well, what do I mean by that? You start to push people away, but you're doing it under the disguise of I'm working on myself to be better, when in reality, you're lashing out in silence and pushing other people away. And you can tell it because you always are still having a negative word to say about people. Matter of fact, let me put it like this. You often get the saying that those people who didn't support you, those people who wasn't for you, those people who didn't lift you up, you find out who your real friends are when the world becomes your enemy and you retreat into this pretend make-believe place of you so-called working on yourself. So what can we do to declutter our lives? What is the first thing you need to do? Clean up the clutter that you've created. Stop spending time trying to clean up the clutter that other people are creating and focus on the clutter that you've created. The less cluttered your life is, the more you're able to healthily help somebody else. The more clutter that you have in your life, you might think you're helping other people, but you're actually being more toxic to them than you really think you are, man. So I hope that this blessed you guys, man. Much love and respect, man. Let's get to cleaning up some things before 2021 comes. Shout it, let's get it together, man. Much love and respect. Peace.